Welcome back, everybody. This is the Windy City Bro Pen live before lock PGA DFS show. And sorry, guys, I had to take off last week. I was on vacation, did not have very good service, so I didn't really get to give you any of my thoughts on the USO. I will give you some of my post thoughts here, but before I get into all that, I just want to remind you guys of the For Fantasy's Sake charity golf outing. That is August 2nd. Registration's at 7:30. We tee off at 8. It is $280 a team. That's $70 a person. Included in that is, of course, 18 holes of golf and a cart. You're also going to get vouchers for Lifted Energy and Hungry Carnivore. And there's also going to be some fantasy themed prizes. We're encouraging people, wear your favorite fantasy football player's jersey, wear your favorite sports team's jersey. Uh, kind of leaning towards football, but hey, you know what? Bring on a baseball jersey. We're going to have fun with this. It's going to be a great time. That's on Sunday, August 2nd. Can't wait to get out there with the guys. It's going to be a fun time. And the gals, everyone's welcome here. But all proceeds from this event are going to go to community-driven efforts such as Toys for Tots, which leads me to my next way you can help folks out is the Toys for Tots Bowl. That is going to be this fantasy football season. We are taking signups. This is a big, big event. I believe the goal this year is to get 240 teams. And over the last 6 years, 5 or 6 years, I'm getting a little mixed up on the number. It's 5 or 6 years. This league itself has generated over $10,000 that goes to Toys for Tots. And what's that doing? You're helping kids at Christmas time. You're making their Christmas magical. It's such a special time. It's just giving back to kids in your community, making their Christmas better. What's a better cause than that, than putting a smile on a kid's face? I can't tell you. But that's something, if you guys are fantasy football players and you want to get involved in the community, this is a great way. There's no quote unquote entry fee. We just take donations. As for those of you that tuned in for me and CP's Bears talk a couple weeks ago when we were talking about the stadium, I did a curse word counter, and I believe I totaled up 35 cuss words, and I was doing $3 a word. So I'm going to be donating $105 to the cause, and I might even donate more. It's just such a good local cause. You're helping out kids in the Quad City community. I mean, what else can you do? That's just it's a great thing to do and help folks in your community. But if you're interested in getting signed up for either one of those, please let myself know, or DJ. We'd be more than happy to get you signed up for either the golf outing or the Toys for Tots Bowl. Just let me know and I'll help you out with that. But so I'm going to get into it. We got some USO thoughts, and then I'll get into the Traveler stuff. As far as the US Open goes, I thought it delivered. Was I happy that Wyndham Clark won? Not necessarily, but he earned it, man. He putted the lights out, and he clutched up when he needed to. It just seemed like every damn time he was over in the fescue, he somehow was 20 feet for birdie. He just had it that week. The only thing that really disappointed me was round 2 was like the second or the easiest round ever played at Shinnecock, which, that to me is just the USGA catering to a bunch of whiners on tour. I think I was expecting the cut line to be 5 or 6 over or even worse, and only got to 4 over. A little disappointing, but I mean, the scores at the end of the tournament reflected it was a dogfight. I mean, there's no doubt about that. So it was a great overall U.S. Open. Shout out to Wendy. He won the dogfight at the end of the day. I thought Burnsy was going to give him a run there, man. Burnsy was just a hair away from that probably being a playoff, because the pressure would have been on Wyndham for sure. But super exciting, and it's going to be interesting to see how that plays into this week, because these guys are going from like an incredibly difficult course to, I mean, this course isn't exactly easy per se, but it's just going to be different, right? It's the bounces are going to be different. The greens are bigger. It's just going to be a little bit different. So it'll be interesting seeing how these guys adjust to how we play this week. As far as the weather goes this week, nothing of note really. This is a no-cut event. I haven't seen anything that was too glaring to where you needed to go with a wave edge. I would double check before you're done building your lineups tonight. I'm going a little earlier than normal. Um, I don't know how my schedule is going to be going forward because we are expecting our son on Tuesday. So we're going in for the induction on Tuesday. So that definitely probably takes me out for next week at least, which I think next week we got the John Deere Classic. I think we got the John Deere Class, either Scottish Open or John Deere Classic. It would be those two next and then the Open. So I might be off until the Open. I'm not 100% sure yet. We're just going to take it day by day and see how things go. But as far as this week goes, it's a no cut. So you definitely want to keep that in mind. This is the last signature event of the year. Thank God. I'm about burnt out of them. So uh, good riddance. But with this course here, it's very important to be in the fairway because the rough is 4 inches thick, and that can lead to some trouble when you're trying to hit on the green. Now, I will say this about the greens: they're huge. There's a 71% green in regulation rate, which is well above the tour average. So guys are getting on the green at a pretty high rate here. Uh, what that tells me, though, is yeah, you want to be where you need to be in the fairway, so you're getting a good second shot in. You don't want to be just because the greens are big. You might get on if you're in the rough, but it's definitely going to affect how you're hitting your shot. And if you are in the rough and you don't end up on the green, you are going to be in for some work. It's not exactly easy to get up and down around here. Um, but the big distance I'm looking at for approach shots are about 60% of the shots come from 100 to 175. For a lot of these guys, those are wedges, short irons. Um, so not to call it exactly a wedge fest, there's going to be opportunities to score here. This is not going to be last week where you're scrapping for par. I mean, there's going to be plenty of birdie opportunities. Um, I think I would like guys that are good putting 15 feet and in. I think that's going to be kind of the separator. Since everyone, a higher percentage of people are going to be on the green, probably want guys that can putt. So that's something you're definitely going to want to be looking at as far as the guys that can putt. They're on Bent/POA this week, so that is also something to consider when you're looking at your putters. This course does not really favor bombers. It's more of like the plotters, station to station type golfers. Um, I mean, think like uh, Russ Henley type guys, those guys that don't, I mean, maybe older Lucas Glover, younger Lucas Glover, those kind of guys. I think this sets up like Brian Harmon is a guy that a lot of people are touting this week. And I mean, for good reason. He owns it here. So, uh, those are the kind of golfers I think a lot of people are going to target. That doesn't mean you need to get away from bombers necessarily, but there's just not as distinctive of an edge for bombers this week as there might be at other courses. Uh, so keep that in mind when you're building this week. You definitely want guys that find the fairway. If they can bomb it and find the fairway, perfect. But there's going to be a lot of holes where you're hitting less than driver, just with how the course is laid out. Um, so you'll definitely want to keep that in mind when you're building this week. As far as the sleepers I like this week, I got three for you. I like Denny McCarthy, Tom Hoagie, and Mac Meisner. And I think this is a good course for Denny. I think, he has not really played great golf at all this year. Really kind of just a really overall down year for him. But I think this is the kind of get right course where a guy like him doesn't need to bomb it. He's not a bomber. He's an elite putter. So to me, like greens and regulation, 71%. If he keeps the ball in the fairway, I think he's going to give himself chances. And for his price, 6,200, I'm not expecting him to be like a world beater. I mean, if this guy squeaks out a top 20 this week in a field of 72 people, you're over the moon. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for a top 20, top 25 at worst. So if he can do that, that would be excellent. And Tom Hoagie, he's another one. Like he gets a little iffy off the tee, but man, if he gets roasty hot on approach, which he can, I mean, he's a wedge god. So if he gets that putter going with that, Tom Hoagie's another guy I could see getting in the top 20 this week. He's 6,200 as well. Um, And the last guy, Mac Meisner, he's another guy. He just keeps it in the fairway, finds the green. He's probably one that I'm a little more worried about than the other two. He's not a great putter per se, um, but definitely a guy I'll be looking at this week for sure. And I think he was 6,400. So those are three guys that I kind of am really looking at down there because I have half the mind to play Scotty this week in my personal lineup. I don't know that Rob and I will get there. I know Rob's a little more prudent on spending almost 14K for Scotty, which I get. I mean, 14K for one guy, that's you're taking up a huge chunk of salary when you do that. So you're taking like 30% of the salary. So I get it. I get why you wouldn't want to play Scotty. But he's gonna win one at some point. You could put him in as the other guy that I'm playing. I got one other guy that I'm gonna be playing, but I just think it's setting up to be a potential Scotty week, and I do like some of these guys down low, especially in a no cut. Kind of just makes sense to me. The one guy I'm going to be fading this week though is Chris Gotterup. Uh, I just don't think the course fits well for him, and he might make me eat my words on that for sure. He's a good golfer for sure. He's proven he can win in all sorts of different conditions and this, that, and the other. I just don't. I don't really care for him this week. I don't think he fits what I'm looking to do as far as how I'm building. So I'm not going to be getting to Chris Gotterup. Now, the one guy, in addition to Scotty, that I'm playing that I wrote down is Russ Henley. This is a perfect Russ course. This is set up so well for Russ. I think he's getting overlooked a little bit. He's 9K. I just think, yeah, he's getting overlooked. And I don't know if you're playing Scotty, like, how often is Russ your next click? How often is Russ your second highest priced guy? I could see the way it's set up. I mean, you could go someone even higher. I mean, if you wanted to, you could make a Scotty and Tommy Ladd lineup and go 6K guys if you wanted to. Um, so that's where I think like Russ is maybe getting squeezed because there's guys around him like Siwoo that I think a lot of people are going to like this week. Uh, I just like Russ. I think the course fits his game, and I think this is a perfect spot to play him. So I'm gonna be getting to Russ this week. As far as my general thoughts, I just think, yeah, this is going to be a station to station type course. If you keep it in the fairway, find the green. You're going to have to knock some of those 15 to 20 footers down this week if you want to see yourself kind of make that push to the top 10, top 5, or even have a chance to win. You're going to have to be able to putt. I mean, that's point blank what it comes down to. Just given that the high green and regulation rate, these greens are the way they set the pins up. Sometimes they tuck them in. There's different levels to the greens. So you can, although the green and regulation rate is high, that doesn't necessarily translate to success. But you're going to have some decently longer putts that are makeable. You're not exactly putting to lag it up there. They will be makeable, but you'll definitely you'll definitely want guys that can putt this week. That's just my opinion. I'm looking at guys that can putt and keep it in the fairway. As far as that goes, that's going to be it for me on the golf talk today. Be on the lookout for. I don't know yet. I will be back with you Friday. I'm going to do a round 3 showdown show, and ideally, I will be with you guys Sunday to do the post tournament review. After that, it's all up in the air. Like I said, my son's planned to be born on Tuesday next week. So what that entails for me after, I'm not 100% sure right now. I'm not going to make any promises. I would guess for sure I won't be doing anything next week. Maybe the following week, if that's at the Scottish Open, you might see me back in the mix. Definitely will be back for the Open for sure. So if you don't hear from me, I didn't disappear. We're just having life stuff go on, which we're very excited to welcome our son into the world. Very, very much looking forward to that. Hoping to have a little golfer to golf with me and my daughter. Add another golfer to the team. But you guys have a good rest of your week, and I will be back with you on Friday night at the end of round 2. Take it easy.